everybody. I wish you a wonderful evening. Welcome back to our SSRI GT3 Tier 1 Championship. My name is Dominic, and today with me is Sam Pierce. Hello, Sam.
Hello, Dominic. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. We're recovering from a nasty flu bug, but at least I have a voice today, which is more than I could say for a few days ago. Hence why I missed the Tier 2 round around Kyalami. But good to be back, and really looking forward to seeing what the Tier 1 guys have in store for us this evening.
Yeah, nice to have you with us. Hopefully you're getting well soon. Yeah, as I said, we are at Kyalami for this time around. Our third round of the championship of, I think, 8 races overall. We have a 75-minute race today, which is not the normally format we are running, but today we have a special. Okay, let us look at our championship standings. On top, we have Dave Jr. with 43 points overall, followed by Sam Spankerling with 49 points, and then with a big distance between the points, we have Clay Benny with 25 points, but which he only did one race and he won Snetterton last time. So, who will become back at top of our championship? But that's only the pro. We got the semi-pros as well. There we have Ryan Leach with 64 points in his class. Then Justin DeLong on second with 39 points. And hopefully I'm doing the right name, Jitsi Mindema with 25 points. Who will win the silver class? Sam, who do you think will win both classes each?
I've got to admit, I was really impressed with Click Banny's performance last round out and at Snetterton. There were, quite a number of notable drivers missing from that round, but he definitely showed some really strong pace. He was clearly leader of the practice server midweek for Kyalami, topping the leaderboards with a 140.2, which is an absolutely phenomenal lap time. So yeah, he's definitely going to be one to watch for the rest of the season. But I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for him. I think Dave Jr. and Sam Spankerling are definitely going to give him a run for his money. Over in the semi-pro class, we've had 2 different winners already between Ryan Leach and Justin De Jong. So I think it's going to be one of those two, with Nick Vargas currently sitting about 11 points behind in third place. Jess Medema currently sitting in about 11 points behind. So yeah, and I think it's a bit early to tell who's going to win overall, but definitely some strong contenders starting to rise to the top.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're good on the way, but first of all, we wanna look at our circuit today. We got overall a whole length of 4.5 kilometers in distance. And now we are on the Knick, which is this little curve at the beginning on the start-finish straight, going down into turn 1, which is the Crow Throne. Very nice overtaking spot. I've ever experienced a lot of overtaking there in the past couple of races I did and watched. And then we got a really difficult turn with this, because if you're going to the inside on turn 1, you will be alongside into the second corner, and then you're going nice named barbecue corner, which is a hot spot for crashing on the first laps especially, and then probably one of the most difficult corners on this track. Sunset with a really long right-hander where you have to aim it perfectly to get through there without losing too much time. Then into a heavy braking zone with a left-hander and clubhouse. Then a little bit of relaxing on a little straight, but not too long. Down into a really difficult chicane. The SS names in Kyalami as well, like in Suzuka and all the other tracks with AS on the track. And then we're going uphill onto the highest point on the track into Loikop, which is oh, forgot the name. Fuck. But a hairpin. Sorry, we go into a hairpin, then downhill, which is probably one of the parts where you get the high speeds into mineshaft, and then into this braking zone where you can overtake if you are cautious enough and probably one of the not feared to be overtaken. Down into Cheddar, which is a difficult corner because of the sausage cup on the inside. You're getting squeeze outs easily if you're not looking forward to it. And then into last corner onto start finish. This is the lap on Kyalami. So, but I think we are already underway with qualifying. Or are we? Yeah, there we have the first car. So Sam, you've seen the track as well. I think you raced on it as well. How do you like this track? Do you even like the track, or are you one of them who says, yeah, I don't like the track, I hate it more than I like it?
No, Kyalami is definitely one of my top favorite tracks. Definitely in my top 3. It's a technical track, and it can be, there are some corners that are very, very difficult to master. But I just love the way that this track flows, and as long as you can get jet ski sweep right and crocodiles coming into cheetah, if you can get those two parts of the track right, then I think it's absolutely fantastic to drive here. I've always enjoyed commentating from Kyalami as well. This track never ceases to provide us with lots and lots of great driving, as we just see Clayt Banney catching that inside sausage curve coming out of cheetah, and I expect that we're going to see a lot of that today. If you don't get your turn-in point for cheetah just right, and you clip that sausage curve, cars get very easily spat out into the deep gravel, which can cause all kinds of problems for cars that are also heading into the pit lane as well, because pit lane entry is just after that gravel trap. So it definitely makes for some very, very interesting racing around here.
Yeah, definitely. I've raced last week in the Tier 2 class, and it was a really difficult race for me. But on the first lap especially, you can just send to the inside, and then going out of it, and you're almost atop of the grid. It's so nice.
Yeah, it is just one of those tracks that's really, really fun when it all comes together. But just looking at then the leaderboard, already got some really, really quick times on the board. Clayt Banney sitting up in provisional pole at the minute with a 140.8. I had a look at what the in real life record is around Kyalami, and this seems to be one of those tracks where the real life record is nowhere near the sort of times that our ACC drivers are achieving. So in real life, the record is a 142.0 set by a Porsche 911 back in 2020. In the practice server midweek, the top 25 drivers were able to beat that time by a good considerable margin, and Clayt putting in a 140 He's just improved that time now to 140.3. So yeah, lots and lots of times are going to be quicker than that real life record.
Yeah, and we clearly see this is tier 1 because Kyalami just setting the fastest lap with 43, which is 6 tenths faster than the pole time of tier 2, which is really impressive. So with this in mind, with the real life race time and of tier 2, we're just seeing it's so difficult or nice to see how fast our drivers can go, but difficult for ACC and Kunos to make the track even realistic. So it matches more the real life.
This is something that I've always found really, really fascinating about ACC and sim racing in general compared to real life racing. And this seems to be more pronounced on some tracks than others. That the fear factor that comes with driving one of these tracks in real life, and I'm thinking of tracks like Bathurst, and here at Kyalami, where if you make a mistake, it can end up being a really, really big crash. So I think in real life, then fear factor plays a lot more of an impact than it does in a sim racing environment where, okay, you get it wrong, you hit a wall, RTG back to garage, fix your car and away you go again. So I've always figured that was the reason why you had such differences between real life records and ACC records, but having that difference being more pronounced on some tracks versus others. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it may play a thing in mind, but you need to know when you're doing a race, which is really long, like an endurance race of 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, or even 24 hours, you have in mind, okay, I can't crash the car now because our race is over then. You're not hurt as person, but your car is
but your
damaged.
race is over. Yeah.
And your race is over. So it may play a role in this, but I don't think it is this hard or this heavy into that. But yeah, I agree with you, especially in the practice servers. You're just going full send, trying to optimize your lap time and then put it together. So yeah.
Yeah, and looking through some of the number of laps that some of our drivers put in on the practice server. And obviously we only have access to the laps that they've put in our official servers, but Kyalami, sitting at the top of the practice server, he did 127 laps worth of practice over the 2 weeks. Dennis Meter, who was in our silver class, so who raced with you last week, he did 243 laps. And just skimming through, I think our highest laps were Cohen Green's, AM driver, who you would have been racing with last week, 385 laps worth of practice. So it is definitely that case of just grinding out lap after lap after lap to improve and almost make then the driving sort of second nature, and making it instinct as opposed to having to think about what you're doing.
Yeah, but these guys have too much time. Doing over 300 laps in the Sims in only 2 weeks is impressive. Yeah, holy shit!
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, and I'll do about an hour and a half worth of combined practice ahead of a race. But I'm racing in every week, whereas these guys, they've got 2 weeks worth of practice time. And yeah, there are some people that take really, really strong advantage of that time. Hence why some of these lap times are so quick.
Yeah. It's just practice. And in real life, you don't have to practice. Yeah. Oh, they're just on the long, just spun out. Yeah. But back to the topic. In real life, you don't have the time for this practice. Yes, you have your simulations and your simulator back in a factory, but on track, where it matters, you just have, like in Formula 1, 3 hours of practice and nothing more. And yeah, it's just the thing, okay, yeah, you have to practice and you have to put your lap together in 3 hours and not in 10 hours of grinding in the simulator.
Yeah. Yeah. When looking up and down the leaderboard, we've got just under 6.5 minutes left in qualifying, and quite a number of people look like they are improving on their lap times. Just looking down the order, Peter Vanier currently 0.3 up on his time, and that'll give him a good couple of places. And this midfield does seem to be very, very tightly packed together. So 3/10, that's brought him up to P7. So really, really good improvement from him there.
Yeah, it is. But as we see, this track is a Ferrari track again, but not that heavy like the last races. We have a lot of different cars up there. We have a lot of Porsches, but we have as well a Mercedes, and a Lamborghini and an Audi. So maybe it is better for this track to have a lot of more cars to drive and not the only one.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a topic, I think, that comes up a lot in conversation over the next few weeks and few months, is the balance of performance for cars on various different tracks. And it's really great to see that we've got quite a mix of manufacturers and out there today, but there are a couple of cars that they do look like they're just lacking a little bit. Currently, our top McLaren sitting in P13, top BMW in P15. So this track definitely does look like it favors the Porsches and the Ferraris, which makes sense. You've got a couple of very long straights, so needing a bit of extra power and an extra grip that you get from the Ferrari and the Porsche is definitely going to do you some benefit. Because we're just on board with Ben Muller from Pit Stop UK in our top Porsche. Was 0.1 up, but I think he might have just invalidated at some point just a few moments ago. So track limits is definitely going to play a factor in this race. I think it's quite easy to fall foul of them here.
Yeah, and Ben Muller is making good progress over the last races. So he finished in P26 at Hungaroring, but in P5 at Snetterton, and now he's in second in the qualifying. So he has a lot of pace in his car. I'm looking forward to him, what he can do over this race today.
Yeah, and looking at the practice server, in terms of our pro drivers, he was in second place behind Clay Vanny in practice time. So he did a 140.7 in free practice midweek.
Yeah, he's showing us. It's really nice that drivers can replicate their lap times, which they did on a practice server, and now back in qualifying. Really nice. But we have 2 minutes 20 left, so the drivers are out for the final 2 laps maybe to do, and they're just trying to put everything into the car again. Let's see what they can do. Maybe we got another pole sitter this time, not Kate. Maybe someone has pace back in his car, which is not showing.
Yeah, it's a considerable gap for someone to try and bridge it. There's currently half a second?
Yeah.
Half a second between.
2.
Yeah, so that's a lot of time for Ben Mullard or Dave Jr. to find to knock Click Benny off that pole time. So definitely showing a lot of promise is Clay Benny. This is the first time that we've had Clay in the championship, and he's definitely looking to be a strong contender. But Muller does manage to bring that gap down to just under 0.4, but it's not enough to take that pole time. And Ben jumps back to the pits. We're on board with Dan Lenson, giving it everything, coming out of, I believe that's coming out of, just coming into barbecue, I think.
Yeah, Vincent Wilczek over the line, not an improvement, but he may have 1 lap left. And Aaron Kleber pits up UK going into this really nice overtaking spot, but into the next really difficult turn where you can't overtake, but you have to nail perfect and to not shoot yourself out going into the last corner. What can he do over the line? Yeah, he improves by, I think, 3 to 4 tenths up to P15 now. And this is over with qualifying. Clay Benny on pole with Ben Mullrod on P2 and Vanier on P3. Followed by Dave Jr., our championship leader. Not showing that strong with 6 tenths behind pole setter. So I'm really looking forward to this race. What we can do here. I'm looking for Sam Spankling or 2nd place, but I can't see him. Can you see him, Sam?
I think. I don't think he's actually in the server this evening.
Yeah. Which means Dave Jr. can increase his gap in the championship if he is finishing really well. And just seen John Beaton just beating Dave Jr. on the line, on his last lap. So only P5 for Dave Jr.
Within the race being 75 minutes, so one of our longer races, and pit stops being for fuel only as mandatory, so it's optional as to whether somebody wants to change tires or not. It could mean that strategy could end up playing an interesting factor in the race today. So it'd be interesting to keep an eye out to see anyone who opts not to change tires. 75 minutes on a single tire set is quite possible if you're careful and you nurse those tires early on, but they are definitely going to be grip compromised towards the end of the race. So it's going to be interesting to see which strategy ends up playing out by the end of the race. And I've just seen Oliver Anderson jump into the YouTube chat to confirm that Sem is actually in the US this week. So off doing exciting things across the pond.
Interesting. Hopefully he has a good time over there. But he will miss this race, which is hurting his championship. So we will see what he can do back into the season.
Yeah, I mean, then the great thing about then this championship is that you do have a drop round at the end of the season. So just missing one race isn't the end of your championship, and it can end up being a positive for you in the end. So be interesting to see how it's. If it ends up affecting his championship towards the end of the season when the drop round starts to play in effect.
Yeah. But now we have 3 minutes to go where the drivers can prepare their races with fuel settings and tires. But let us go through the grid order for today. On pole with Clay Benny with an impressive lap, just with 4 tenths ahead on P2, with Ben Mollard there in the Porsche 992. Then we're going to P3 with Vernier there with another Ferrari, and then on the left side again we have Mitchells. With our first Mercedes, we have Nils Wager in this beautiful Model 11 Haribo livery. I like it a lot. But we mentioned it before. On the left side again, we have John Beaton, followed up by Dave Jr. and Mida behind him. Then in the Lambo again, which has not correctly loaded delivery, but it isn't that worse. We have Filippi and Vincent Vilsack in a Porsche again. This was our top 10, going to on P11 with Val on the right side and Yannick Wallenduc on the left side in the McDonald's livery. Then we got our first BMW in this race with Walker, followed up by Dan Lanson in a Porsche again. And with a Porsche, and again on the right side, we got Van Schaik and Cleaver in a Ferrari. Yeah, then Andrew Richardson in our first McLaren. This is impressive how far back the McLaren is this race. But we have Mike Abrinosa on the left and Tim Crow on the right side in Lamborghini again. Completing our top 20 is Wagenmakers in a BMW again. Then we got Dealey in the second Mercedes on the grid. A large gap between both Mercedes on the grid, which is interesting. And we got Dealey, Nils Schröder on the left in another McLaren. Then Justin de Jong, I think second place in the silver class with Patrick Tractor following up. And now I not have the standings anymore, I'm sorry. But with these guys following up, we will see. But as you see, there are all McLarens, so the McLaren isn't that good on this track. I'm really impressed by that, because the last races over the last couple of months, we've seen that the McLaren are a really good car to drive and to race with. But at Kyalami, they aren't.
Yeah, I mean, then it is it's one of the things that has been hotly talked about throughout the entire sim racing community over the past few months, and especially this week, is this topic of balance of performance, of how various cars are strong on some tracks versus others, and it's proven to be a complicated issue for the developers and community organizers to try and find a solution that allows for even competitive racing regardless of what car you take, and allowing driver skill to come more to the forefront as opposed to what car you just happen to choose for a particular race. But it is interesting to see the McLaren so far back here. The McLaren was the car that I learned to drive on, and I always found it a very, very easy car to just get in and drive. I found it very, very stable and just a nice, comfortable car to drive. So it's interesting that the various updates that have happened to ACC over the past sort of 6-9 months have made it a lot twitchier and a lot more difficult to try and set up. Whereas other cars that used to be very, very difficult to drive are now a lot easier to handle. So the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, I never thought I would see myself in a Ferrari. Just didn't think I had the skill to handle a car like that. But lo and behold, it's become a very, very easy car to drive. So it's interesting to see how then the cars have changed as the game has progressed and developed.
Yeah, we've seen over the time new cars get developed, and every year we get a new BOP within the cars based on the recent results in the real life. And I think we're almost there where the cars going into double fire. Yes, they are now going into double fire, so the cars are now preparing for the race start, and we are just waiting to commentate our first lap and especially our first corner, where cars will try to overtake each other on serious occasions, like diving to turn 1 completely on the inside, which can work, but which can really be the inch too much.
Yeah, it can be very chaotic into the technical turn 1, which is Crowthorne. Obviously, nobody really counts the kink as an actual corner. I've always found it amusing that they've actually numbered it here, but we are now just coming up onto the start-finish straight. So yeah, and everybody's going to be thinking about finding that braking point into Crowthorne. Thankfully, there is quite a large runoff area.
And we're going green for the racer. Sorry, Sam, to interrupt you, but Cape Benny doesn't get the best start, but Ben Muller going into first and trying to cover the inside, and he can manage it. So Cape Benny on in second, Ben Muller on in first. Wow, nice. And it seems like a really nice, clean first corner. But what the other corners will do, we can only look and watch. Many cars going side by side into Sunset now, which is possible, but both cars have to do it and manage well, which looks okay there. Aaron Cleaver in the watching area to the both cars ahead, with Chaik and Richardson battling into both corners, and Walker just gets squeezy on the rear. Back at the top with Clay Barney behind Ben Muller. So Ben Muller could jump Clay Barney on the start. The Porsche traction is in place the whole time, like in the last car. And now we got an around the outside overtake by John Beaton against Wilczek. Wow, but it isn't over yet. The outside becomes the inside into the second next corner, and he has passed him. So nice job by John Beaton. Going into the difficult corner, hopefully everyone can manage it, so nobody is crashing into each other. But I think there goes somebody right there, so he couldn't manage this corner. And this was the first lap. Going into the first corner, Clay Benny maybe trying to overtake him, but no, he couldn't quite manage it. The Porsche was quite fast on the straight. With Nick Daly and I think Crow is battling there into turn 1. A lot of the And there some Lambo, I think, behind. I think it was Patrick Trevor, did manage to turn one that well and lost a lot of momentum there. Yeah, and Craig Benny just gets a lot of pressure behind him with Mitchell just trying to catch him. And now Mitchell goes a little bit too wide, which opened the gap for Vargas into the next corner. And can Vargas manage it? Yes, he can manage it, and goes past him, and now he's in P3. Yeah, wow, what starting scene, but it isn't over yet. There we got the next battle there with Dave Jr. and Peter Van Nieuw going battling. Van Nieuw could defend himself against against Dave Jr., but Dave Jr. trying the inside, couldn't manage it well. He needs to stick behind and keep patient once more. Yeah, wow, Sam, what an opening lap.
It was very, very clean opening couple of laps. It's going to be interesting to see how Clayton Benny deals with being behind Ben Muller. When we saw that Clayton is considerably faster in just pure lap times. So it'd be interesting to see how Benny deals with putting Ben under pressure. Is definitely keeping right on Ben's tail. There's only 0.2 of a second gap between them, so putting Ben under all kinds of pressure, hoping to force a mistake. But I think this is the first time that we're seeing Clay have to battle for positions. So it's good to see how he handles that situation. But close battling all the way up and down the field. Interesting enough, this race is taking part quite late in the evening. Our start time was 7 p.m. local time, so already starting to get dark. You can see all of the headlights flashing on the cars. So this race will be finishing in quite dark conditions, and this track is not lit, so it does get very, very dark here very quickly. Except for sunset. Sunset seems to hold on to the light for quite a long time. But yeah, side-by-side racing all the way down through the field already. I think that's Aaron Cleaver and possibly Todd Van Shake. No, Dan Lenson and Ryan Walker, sorry. Just going side-by-side through the S's.
Yeah, and we're going to have another battle with Ryan Walker against Dan Lanson, which is a battle for opposition, but not in class. But they're battling really hard for this position, where just Ryan Walker just pushing out Dan Lanson a little bit wide to get squeezed past him.
Really, really good racing between the both of them. Both being very, very respectful, giving each other plenty of room. But Ryan Walker being in our semi-pro class, showing that he can put an overtake onto one of the pro drivers from Dan Lenson. So really good move there.
Yeah. But they're going battling over whole the field. Just everyone wanna get up the field, and maybe someone gets around the outside and going a little bit too wide off the track to gaining a little bit of advantage, which is possible, which you can make, but it isn't that clean, and you may get a penalty for that as well. But back to the top, Clay Benny is still behind Ben Mullard. Ben Mullard is defending well, but Now the switchback can be done by Kyalami against Ben Muller. Not quite. Kyalami is really patient behind him. But I think he can go faster than Ben Muller, showing what he shown in qualifying.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, and at the minute, it's John Baton with the fastest lap currently in P8. So this fight between Ben Muller and Kyalami, Nick Vargas and Regan Mitchell now starting to come onto the back of that battle. So all of that fighting is allowing our drivers further down than the order to put into some quick lap times. And that lap time from John Baton has allowed him to come up onto the back of Luca Filippi to battle for P7.
I think I've seen the yellow flag back in the grid in the SS with the. What is it? The third? Did Oliver Anderson just spun out in the SS? Oh my god, he isn't that well today. Oliver Anderson by Untitled Motorsport Dry Dreams. Oh my god, yeah, it is Oliver. We all know him.
But interesting, I'm seeing Justin De Jong and Nelson Ambrinosa having completed their pit stops already. So my assumption would be that they've pitted early to fix damage.
Oh,
but
and Yannick Walenduk just spun out. He hit the curb on the inside. Where's the sausage? Yeah, unfortunate for him. Really unfortunate. Oh man, and now he need to let pass everybody there. But be aware, Yannick, it is quite difficult to rejoin safe with so much traffic on track.
And it's painful to sit there and watch just car after car after car pass you because it's unsafe for you to rejoin. But he's very lucky quite often when cars spin out in that particular section, because it's a blind crest coming out of a corner. It can be unsighted for the cars coming up behind. And he was lucky not to get collected with the front end of his car just sitting on the edge of the curb there. So could have been a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, but now he needs to get back up to field again, so he can score good amount of points. But yeah, back to the both who just pitted now. Yeah. They will go to the end. They just refueled maybe 1 liter or 10 liters, which they just need to finish the race. So we have to look where it goes, but we have to battle for the lead. Kyalami tries the outside, but now he do this old switcheroo, going into the inside, and now he got past Ben Muller. Wow, what an impressive move. But Ben Muller is just got passed by Vargas as well. Wow, he lost a really much time there by this overtake. But he may get passed by Mitchell as well into sunset. Oh my god.
So I think he ended up getting all out of shape into Crowthorne. And with those 3 corners of Crowthorne, the 2 jet ski sweep corners and barbecue being so close together, you get the entrance into the first corner wrong, and it impacts all of the corners following up to it. And then with the long straight after barbecue, you can end up losing quite a number of positions just from one small mistake. So, looks like Ben Muller has managed to hold on to P3. Kind of costly mistake there for Ben.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, his lead has an end, but maybe he can get past again. He has the pace he's shown us. He was second in qualifying, he was second on the practice server. So I'm looking forward to his race. Maybe he gets back into P2 and maybe even into P1. With just one mistake from Kyalami, somewhere on track or even in the pit stop. We still don't know what is the perfectly strategy for this race.
As we just jump on board with Yannick Ballandot trying to recover some of the positions that he lost in that spin, looks like he's just overtaken Nikolai Schroeder to take P21.
Yeah, he spun out to P22 and now he's back into P21. So Yannick is trying to fight back his way. Up next you have Verhoeven in the Porsche with 1.2 seconds ahead. But I think he can close this gap quite fast, as he's a really fast driver. We've seen a lot of his races in the past couple of times. But back to the top we have Dave Jr. with the fast lap overall. And he can try to attack the car ahead with Mitchells, and he may try it. He's trying to put him under pressure all the way through the corners there and going into this difficult corner into Cheetah with the sausage of Kyalami. And yeah. And oh, I said it, Clay Bunny's just spun out. I just said it 1 lap ago. One mistake and everything changed again. Now we got a new leader with Vargas on P1 in the Mercedes.
Yeah, and with the pack still being so close together, that one mistake has put Clayton Banny down into P7. So hopefully Tom on the camera is going to see if we can get a replay as to exactly what happened there. There was a considerable gap between Nick Vargas and Clayton Banny, so I don't think this was assisted. My feeling is he just got just a little bit too much of the curb, and very, very close to collecting other cars and as well. So that looked like just catching a little bit of the curb coming out of Cheetah, just unsettled the car and just giving a bit of an oversteer coming into the braking zone for Ingwe, the final corner. And swapped ends on him and put him down into P7, so it's going to give him a lot of work to do.
Yeah, but we've seen he has the pace. He almost pushed 1 second in 1 lap, the cars behind him. So he will get back on top again. It's just a matter of time. But for the time being, we are just watching the lead with Niels Varga behind Ben Mollard and Mitchells. So maybe Niels Varga or Nick Varga can now pull away against Ben Mollard. Because I think the Mercedes isn't that bad of a car to drive overall, and especially on Kyalami. Got a really nice pace in this car.
Yeah, it's good that we've got 4 different manufacturers in the top 4, and all of these cars sitting very, very close together. Gap between Nick Vargas and Ben Mullard, currently 0.6 of a second. Ben Mullard to Regan Mitchell in P3 is only 0.3, and then Regan Mitchell down to Dave Jr. in P4, who also has the fastest lap of the race. At 0.4 of a second, so about 1 second gap between P1 to P4. So as we've seen already, slightest little mistake can end up costing you a considerable number of places here.
Now we've seen truly happen that Ben Muller get pushed from Regan Mitchells to make a mistake and to let him pass. So maybe Ben Muller isn't that well there on top. He has a lot of pressure in his body, maybe. He isn't that maybe that kind of person who is on top normally. But yeah, we will see.
I'm just noticing that Ryan Walker is currently in the pits and has been stationary in the pits for quite some time. So I'm wondering if maybe he's received some quite heavy damage. He's now moving in again, just coming out. But yeah, Ryan Walker was battling in the midfield with, I believe he was battling with Dan Lenson up in P12, but now is at the back of the pack with a lap down. So I would assume that there had been some contact there at some point. So unfortunate for Ryan, but good to see him back out of the pits and continuing with the race.
Yeah, we've seen the Blackberry just trying to push the cars ahead of him. It's so annoying for him to be back there, but buddy, it's your fault. You did the error. But try to keep it clean. We've seen you can do it, so make it.
Yeah, I mean he's just taken fastest lap of the race with a 1:41.2. But this is something that we've seen time and time again, that you can be, very, very, very quick driver on single lap, but he's got 6 other cars that he needs to try and cleanly overtake, and nobody's going to gift positions to him, so he's going to have to be patient and wait for those opportunities to advance up the pack to present themselves, or keep pressure on drivers until they make a mistake.
It's often so in GT3 racing. All cars are more likely the same with the BOP, and just trying to push the car ahead into a mistake, or just being a little bit fast. But it's more often that you have to wait and see what the car is doing ahead of you and trying to get past him. And as we have Aaron Cleavers just been out in the S's, and now RTG back to the pits, so it was probably a severe amount of damage, unfortunately for him. And now, yeah, I said it, Luca Filippi did the error, and get connected as well. Oh my god, this sausage is terrible on this corner.
But it is very fortunate that he hadn't passed the pit entry line where before the accident happened. So he was able to bring himself back into the pits under his own steam, as opposed to having to return to garage. And Cheetah claims another victim. But
it was Aaron Cleaver.
It was, yeah. But then, as we saw, he had already passed the pit entry line, so had no choice but to continue on with the lap to try and nurse that car along. It's quite heavy impact into the wall, and probably by the time he got to the S's, it was just a bit much for him to hang on to.
Yeah. It is quite difficult to drive on this track with this much damage, especially on the rear, because you have to have a good rear end to drive. And there we have the error in the S's from Aaron Cleaver. Yeah, on the weight transfer, he just have to span it out. Just couldn't hold it back on track. Unfortunate. But now Luca Filippi back on track. So he isn't just giving up his race for this error he did, just sticking to the race and trying to get points, which is good. You need points to be at the top of the championship at the end of the championship.
Yeah, it's something that I've always advocated that regardless of how bad a race is going, continue to drive because you have no idea what's going to happen to cars in front of you, and even just finishing a race on track is still going to give you points, and it's that points consistency over the span of the championship. That ends up, gaining you places over other drivers who, possibly a little bit more hot-headed and, quitting races and things like that. So consistency does have a tendency of beating speed over the long run. So no matter what happens in a race, keep driving because you have no idea what could happen in front.
Yep. And we got Dave Jr. there just showing us on the inside, trying to unsettle Regan Mitchells into the Crocodiles, which is the name of the corner. But couldn't do it. So Regan Mitchells stays in front of Dave Jr. as Clay Benney is trying the same into Ingvi, trying to unsettle Vincent Wilczek. And just trying, I think, going into the inside, into turn 1. Yes, he tries. He's alongside him. Not quite, but he's still on the inside. Which is the minimum way to travel. And then going into barbecue on the inside and get managed. Oh, but I think he's still alongside Vincent Wilczek. It going into sunset? No, Wilczek is just stepping out into sunset, which is good because both drivers just losing time to sticking in there.
Yeah, really, really great strategic move from Clay Benney there. Giving Wilczek plenty of space through the S's, but knowing that the Ferrari would have the stronger car on the straight coming out of barbecue into sunset. So really, really great move there. So, just seeing a coarse yellow Patrick tractor. It's been stationary for quite a while, and that looks like the corner just coming into Crowthorne. Looks like he might be moving now, but it'd be interesting to see a replay if we can get one.
Which is an unusual spot there to park there, so there have to happen something, or he just even parked there because his car can't travel even, and I think he's standing again.
Stopped again. Yeah, and he stopped again, just coming. I think that's just coming out of barbecue. So yeah, possibly a technical issue with his equipment. Looks like he's moving again.
Yeah, he is. Now we got a replay.
So this is just coming down the start-finish straight, and yeah, car just pulls off to the side. Possibly. I'm hesitant to think technical failure because that looked very, very controlled and very deliberate. So it could be something else going on in his race room. Might not be feeling very well, or something like that. Just preventing him from continuing. But we will keep an eye on him and see if he does rejoin the race.
Yeah, and the battle continues at the top of the pack. Still, Vargas in the lead ahead of Ben Mollard and Regan Mitchells in P3. And I think we're going into traffic now. I think there's traffic ahead of Varga. Isn't there?
They are starting to come into lap traffic now, which is interesting for only 30 minutes into the race. This isn't a very short track, so it's interesting that they're starting to have to contend with lap traffic already.
Yeah, probably because a lot of drivers pitted just yet. I think the top 20 haven't pitted yet, but everyone behind them have pitted already, as Yannick Reindl is doing it right now. So they're going for a halfway stint into the race. Just fuel it for the half of the race to refuel for the last half of the race. Maybe this is a good strategy, maybe not. Maybe just slash and dash as Ben Mullard goes right into Crocodiles. And now going off the track. And they oh my god, they really want to try to go too wide into Cheddar. And now Dave Jr. is trying to go past Greg Mitchells on the inside. And Kate Bennett just bump draft him to go faster. Oh my god. And now Dave Bennett got past Dave Jr. because of that. I don't know what to think about it. Isn't the best cleanest mode. But Clay Barney isn't over yet. He's trying his move on Regan Richards into turn 1, now into turn 3, into barbecue. And he's stopped on the apex and got past him. What a move.
That is a very, very brave move from Clay Barney. But, Regan Mitchell, one of our more experienced drivers, has been without SSRI for quite a while now. Clip Banny, desperate to make up some of those places that he's lost. Just putting all the cards on the table, and just going for the move, and is rewarded by getting back up into P3. So really, really brave stuff from Clay Banny there.
But I don't know what to think about his move with the bump drafting. It is forbidden in NASCAR, where it was really typical to do, and he's doing that in GT3 Racing, where isn't that of a problem on the straights, but it isn't the cleanest to do this.
It isn't. I have a feeling that it wasn't intentional. Plate is considerably faster than a lot of the cars around him. It's quite possible that he just misjudged the speed of the car in front. So I definitely don't think it's anything intentional or malicious. It's just one of those things. And with Clay being new to this championship, he's probably just getting used to the skill level of the other drivers around him. So I want to think the best of all of our drivers, and hope that it was just accidental. Sorry, I was just going to say that Aaron Cleaver has come into the YouTube chat, saying that he lost the car under weight transfer in braking, and his brake pedal wasn't responding. He's done the responsible thing, and pulled out of the race. Very, very unfortunate, Aaron. I hope you get your brake pedal diagnosed and fixed for next round out in 2 weeks' time, which is going to be Misano, another one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, 2 people, 1 Ford. I just want to mention as well.
No, it'll be interesting to see the pit strategies for our top drivers. I'm gonna hazard a guess that Nick Vargas is gonna stay out and is only gonna take a splash and dash towards the end of the race. I definitely don't think he's gonna take tires. But yeah, then that would be my certainly be my strategy if I was sat behind the wheel of that Mercedes, sitting out in front, but then a nice comfortable lead over Ben Mullard in P3. He's currently got about just under 3.5 seconds on P2 there. So that would be my decision if I was in the cockpit. Just stick it out, just put in some nice clean laps. He's got some clean air ahead of him. Next lap traffic is considerable way down the road, so he can just relax and just put in some hot laps. 40 minutes left. That would be my choice on strategy for Nick. And I expect Ben is probably going to do the same, although he's probably now starting to feel the pressure from Clayton Banney coming very, very rapidly up into his mirrors in P3.
Yeah, he's getting on the pressure as Clayton Banney just do a little bit of an error there out of chatter, but it isn't affecting his racing line that much. And maybe he can get past him, but he isn't going into the toe there. Ben Mullard is going to sticker him out of the toe, and he isn't following. But yeah, maybe this was the move why he couldn't get past him into turn 1, but it isn't hurting his race at all. He has still 40 minutes to go and clearly got the pace to get past him again.
He does have the pace, yes, but with little mistakes like that, just then the rear end just getting a little bit loose there coming out of Cheetah. He's got to be careful about his tires. My guess would have been that his initial strategy would have been not to change tires. If he keeps pushing too hard, especially with the fact that he's already had at least one spin already this evening, his tires are not going to be in the greatest conditions, so he's going to have to give that some consideration and nurse his tires a little bit more, not push quite so hard if he wants to get those tires to last to the end of the race. Certainly my experience with the Ferrari is that tires have a tendency of dropping off a cliff at around the 45-minute mark, especially when you're pushing hard. And as we say that, Clayton decides to jump into the pits, and we'll keep an eye on how long he's stationary, but my guess is that he's going to be changing tires.
It looked like he got pushed back in the pits, so this is costing even more time for him. As we see Oliver Anderson in P18, the last car on the grid which hasn't pitted yet. Oh, not the last car on the overall grid, but in total, he's the last car. He hasn't had the best race so far, which is a little bit unusual. He clearly got the pace to do a lot of good laps on all the other tracks, but today isn't the day for him. But he can battle with Bass, so hopefully he can get past him, or would cheer him up, because he is my teammate in the Endurance Championship, and I would like to see him upper the field there. But he needs to do this.
Yeah, so I've just watched finish his pit stop, and it looks like he has taken tires as well as fuel based on the amount of time that he was stationary. So he has come out into P19. Not in the lead of the cars that have pitted so far. So Justin DeLong is ahead of him on track, having pitted as well. So interesting to see how the rest of the pit stops pan out, and how much work Kate Banny is going to have to do once all of the pit stops pan out, to see how far he is off of that lead. But I think he's going to be further back than just the P3 that he pitted from.
Yeah, we will see right now. Ben Mullard just pitted, or is just pitting right now. So, what is he doing? Is he just taking fuel, or is he doing the same like Clyde Banny, with doing taking tires and fuel?
My guess from the amount of time that he has been sat in the pits, I think Ben Mullard is also taking tires. Would be my guess. So his pit stop time between pit in to pit out was just over 37 seconds. It's 30 seconds to take tires. So my guess would be.
Ooh, this is close. A nice battle with them. Sorry, Sam.
No, they definitely didn't override me on that, because I do believe that is Clayton Banny that has managed to bull his way through ahead of Ben Mullard.
Yeah, it is. Clayton Banny just got managed the undercut against Ben Mullard and now got past him. So, what is
interestingly, just to mention, Justin DeLong is still ahead of both Banny and Mullard, having completed in his pit stop. So that's interesting. Justin was one of the cars that pitted right at the very, very beginning of the race. I think I noticed him in the pits on lap 2. So interesting to see that so far has panned out for him, although his tires are now going to be 20 laps old. And as we say that, Banny has now just, they're not quite got the job done. As Justin giving Clayton Banny a good run for his money, the side by side, a little bit of contact.
They're crashing into Cheetah. Oh my god.
And Clayton does manage to keep it out of the wall, but loses the position to Justin and to Ben as well. So yeah, that's no doubt that will be investigated a bit after the race by our stewards.
Yeah, so far this isn't a race which is Clayton Banny looking for it. As Justin DeJong just spinning out. What happened there? Was there a contact?
I don't know if there was contact. Be interesting to have a look back at that, to see whether he did just get a little bit of a tap on the rear end. Just noticing Nick Vargas just gone into the pits, so this is going to be really, really interesting to see where Nick Vargas comes out in relation to this battle between Ben Mullard, Clayton Banny, and Dave Jr. is quite a considerable distance ahead of them as well in P8. Currently 3 seconds between Dave Jr. and Ben Mullard.
So we got a replay of this situation right now. Ben Mullard on the inside trying to get past Justin. He get managed, and then I think he get collected by Clayton Banny. Just a revenge.
I think, and again, this is Clayton Banny not being aware of the speed difference between himself and other drivers around him. If I was a steward, I would put that on to Clayton Banny as being his mistake. Just not being aware of the speed difference. So very, very unfortunate for Justin. Hasn't lost out too much. He is still running currently in P12. But Nick Vargas is now out of the pits into P6. And if my timing board has updated correctly, with a decent gap back to Dave Jr. as well. My timing board showing that gap being just under 4 seconds to Dave Jr. So he has managed to retain the lead with the race. Dave Jr. Currently showing as net P2 and Ben Mullard net P3.
Yeah, I think this is confirming that Claire Barney and Ben Mullard take tires and fuel, where Vargas and Junior just take fuel.
Just taking fuel, yeah. Then I didn't, with all the action happening with Claire Barney, Mullard and Justin De Jong, I kind of took my eyes off of Nick Vargas as he was sat in the pit, so I can't confirm exactly how long he was sat there. But yeah, has definitely retained his P1 position.
By a quite comfortable margins against Dave Jr. with 4.5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can push a little bit more, he is aware of a 5-second penalty already. If he wanna get one, but yeah, we got only 5 cars left box with Mitches at the top, which is interesting to see what he is doing. Is he going to the end and just taking 1 liter of fuel, or is he going to piss anytime soon?
Yeah. Well, Regan Mitchell, certainly in our GT4 championship last year, was always driving the, oh god, my brain's gone blank. He's used to driving cars with very little to no traction control. So Regan's a master at tire management and things like that. So I would fully expect Regan to stay out and just do a splash and dash. Probably the same with Dan Lenson as well. Not too as familiar with Jets Medema in terms of his driving style. Regan Mitchell, yeah, I would definitely expect him to try and eke those tires out for the remaining 30 minutes in the race, which should get him in a healthy number of positions over cars around him that are taking tires as well.
Yeah, as you see Oliver Anderson right now here, he got past Buzz and he is in the top 20 with no pit stops to go. So, lovely job by him. He's just battling for P19, where he is just behind him. So, we need to wait and see what he can do against Pinchback. But I think he just had a lot of dry dreams in the qualifying while he's qualified back in the positions. But now he put them away and now can fight for quite good positions compared to his qualifying positions.
Just taking a look at the championship standings in terms of our class split. And it's just dawned on me that our net race leader, Nick Vargas, is actually a semi-pro and not a pro driver. So, then definitely showing that he is a very, very accomplished driver and doing a fantastic job, beating quite a number of very, very quick pro drivers behind them. So an excellent drive this evening from Nick Vargas, currently in P6, but will probably be a net P1, although Jets Medema is showing as having completed his pit stop, and unless it's the timing board having a little bit of a delay before updating. Yeah, there we go. So it is just a little bit of a delay in updating, but just goes to show how strong the strategy is. That if you can manage to get tires to last, Medina has come out currently in net P2 of the race just by taking the gamble of not taking tires. Question is whether he's going to have any grip towards the end of the race, and if it will allow Dave Jr. to close that gap up to Medema, and possibly put him under pressure for the rest of the race. But interesting to see how the different strategies are starting to pan out.
Yeah, this means as well that we have a leading pair of two semi-pros at the moment, with Vargas and Medema. So it would be really nice to see two semi-pros winning this race today, and not a pro, which is quite unusual because normally the pros should be faster than the semi-pros. This is why it's class 4. But again, we need to wait if the timetables is getting updated, if Dan Lanson is behind both of them. I think he is. But we've seen Oliver. Oliver did manage to get past Pinchback, and now he's in 19th position. Lovely job. Keep going, mate.
And it looks like Pinchback is under a bit of pressure from Van Schaik behind as well. So it's possible that Pinchback might lose another position here. As Van Schaik just takes a very, very brave move into. I just believe that's just coming out of Engwe onto the final straight. So great move there for Van Schaik up into P20.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dan Lunson just dropping into P7, so slotting in between Dave Jr. and Clay Banny. But it does mean that at the minute we do still have two semi-pros at the top of the leaderboard in net positions, with Regan Mitchell still continuing to stay out in the Barwell Motorsport Lamborghini. Very difficult to see which cars are which as the sun continues to set, just coming up onto 8 o'clock server time. It does make it a little bit more difficult for us commentators to try and figure out who is who, but we're just on board with Regan Mitchell. Seeing those lovely backfire flames from the back of that Lamborghini. It's one of the things that I love about ACC is how realistic Kunos have made these cars in terms of how they react, how they behave, how they sound compared to the real world machines. It makes the game much more immersive, I think.
Yeah, it's a really nice thing of ACC to do this, and I think it's one of the, if not the only simulation which is doing this so well. I think iRacing isn't that good and realistic, it just feels good to drive for many people. But the graphics aren't the best, and R-Factor too.
Yeah, I've not seen much game footage from R Factor, but then the footage that I've seen from iRacing and a lot of the streamers that I follow who race a lot in iRacing, the feedback tends to be the same, that the graphics are not quite up to the level of ACC, but the realism is it's definitely on par. So it does seem to be that, you know, all of the various simulators that are on the market at the minute, they all have their strong points, they all have their weak points. I just think, you know, when we've got it's a fantastic time to be a sim driver. You've got so much variety and option available to you as we continue to watch this battle with Thomas Van Schaik. I believe that's battling with Oliver Anderson. It looks like he's managed to get the move done on Oliver, heading up into P19 just as they come across the start-finish line.
Yeah, and as we speak, I think Medema dropped a lot of places. He's only P6 now, and he isn't that behind Vargas again. Junior and Benny got past him. And it needs to happen on the last lap. His last lap was only a 44, which isn't a good lap around here. You normally do 43s or as low 43s to high 42s, or even 41s if the conditions are good. But 44s are not good.
It's something that can, you know, easily happen if you're coming out on an out lap after a pit stop where you've not taken tires. Your tires are going to be stone cold. They've not come out of tire warmers. They've been sat you know, just on the car while you've been refueling, and obviously, you know, not doing race pace. So it can take a couple of laps for those tires to warm back up. So it could be that Medema's you know, just had a couple of traction issues that's allowed him to fall back a couple of places. But no such hardships for Nick Vargas. Currently still up into P3, net P1 of then the race, with a nice comfortable gap to Dave Jr. behind of just under 4.5 seconds. So Nick in a very good position for the rest of this race. We're just taking a look at some of the battles further down the order, just on board with Vincent Valsec, currently battling with Ben Mullard ahead and John Betton behind. This is for P8 overall.
Yeah, we got just past the 20 minutes mark, 20 minutes left on the clock, and this is now the hot phase of the race. You need to do your pass quickly to get a good position now, because with every lap's passed, it gets difficult. It gets more difficult. So try to keep it clean, but do your moves. As you've seen, Ben Muller goes not defensive, goes aggressive on the inside, and got past Dan Lanson there. I think Wilczek is trying the same up to Barbecue. Now on the inside and got past him. I think there's another car. Is there beaten as well? Is this one of these situations where you got out of the... Yeah, it is beaten. Trying around the inside, in sunset, now into the next corner, gets the inside, and you got past him. Wow. Yeah. Probably was one of the situations where you haven't the best exit out of turn one and then got everything. As Medema just spun out as well. Oh my god, a lot of happened. I just said it. Keep it clean, guys. I don't know. I'm not allowed anymore to say something like that.
Yeah, so then this is the risk with you know, taking a bit of a gamble on strategy and not changing tires, is that you can end up in this situation where your tires just fall off a cliff. You suddenly find yourself with no traction. Light conditions are changing as well. It's now, pretty much full-on dark here at Kyalami now. And this is a difficult track to run in the dark. Very, very difficult to see your braking points. Just all on a zone just gets a little bit too much curb coming out of barbecue. Thankfully he was able to keep it out of the wall, and I don't think he's picked up any damage, but his tires are not going to be happy.
No, not at all. Especially not after you have to have them on the whole race already. The race is only a 75 minutes race, to be fair, but the maximum stints you're allowed in our endurance championship are 75 minutes, so the tires are only concepted to hold 75 minutes. If you're careful enough, you maybe can stretch them to 2 stints, but you're losing so much time there. And you see, you're losing time because you're losing grip. And this is what happened to him.
Yeah. Having said that, we've still got Regan Mitchell and Nikolai Schroeder still yet to pit, so they are definitely taking the no tires splash and dash strategy. And I expect them to come in probably with about, I would guess, about 5 minutes left in the race, as we're just on board with Andrew Richardson, as he has a little bit of a sideways moment coming out of the S's. Managed to keep it going. I think he managed to keep it out of the wall just, lost a good couple of positions there down into P16. So we're just on board with Nick Vargas. He's pulled up to the back of Nikolai Schroeder and has managed to overtake him as well. So Nikolai Schroeder probably thinking that not changing tires is now potentially starting to hurt him a little bit. Nikolai Schroeder just falling back into B3. Nick Vargas is taking that position on track. This is a battle that has been going on all race at various points in the leaderboard. Clay Banny coming up onto the back of Dave Jr. for P4. They go side by side through Chisa, which is brave as you like, and Clay managing to keep everything on track and pointing in the right direction to get the overtake done up into P4, coming out of Engwe, which is a phenomenal move. But then Dave Jr. Doing everything he can to try and get that position back.
Yeah, really nice battle by both of them. Just trying to keep it up there, but yeah, I don't think it is possible for Dave Jr. today to keep up with Clay Benny, especially because Dave Jr. have the old tires on his car and Clay Benny not. I think he will pull away really quickly. As we catch up to the people who hasn't pitted yet, so Nick Vargas into P2, behind him Nikolai Schroeder. He needs to pit in the next 30 minutes or he will be disqualified from the race. he's just losing to the other cars who have already pitted. So I think the smartest way to do it is just pitting right now to go away from the cars who's just going behind them, and to not losing so much time anymore.
Yeah, just looking at the overall lap time. So Nikolai Schroeder, that lap that he's literally just completed was a 1:42.6. Nick Vargas ahead of him. That his last lap was a 1:41.5, and Clayton Banney a 1:42.1. Now, obviously, that was that was the lap that he was fighting with Dave Jr. But Regan Mitchell up in P1, still also yet to pit. His last lap was 1:42.0, so he is losing time, but he's got a fair amount of buffer back to Nick Vargas, so doesn't have a pit stop's worth of time, but he could potentially get P2 as he's just heading into the pits now as I'm watching. So I'm going to keep an eye on him and see where he comes out specifically in relation to Nick Vargas, but I'm interested to see where he's going to come out in relation to Clayton Banney as well. As we're just on board with Nick Vargas. He's just coming into Crocodiles now. So depending on how quick Regan's pit stop is, and he's already on the move, just heading out into pit exit. So this is going to be close.
It isn't even close, really. He is already into turn 1 yet now, as Nick Vargas just going on to it. Wow. Okay, he completely missed his braking point. Wow. He wasn't prepared for this, but yeah, Nick Vargas just crosses finish line, and Mitchell is already out again.
Yeah, so an absolutely blinding strategy call from Regan Mitchell. Yeah, absolutely fantastic call on the strategy, and has kept P1 position, and with a 4-second buffer back to Nick Vargas in P2. So brilliantly done. So Nick Schroeder, last car on track, left to take his pit stop with 10 minutes left, as we're just on board with Justin DeLong, who's under a bit of pressure, putting a bit of pressure on Patrick Vanier, Peter Vanier, just in front.
Yeah, as better goes on between Vanier and De Jong. Both are just doing the fastest way he can go, as Vanier is going sideways. And someone goes off the track. It was a Tim Kroll in the Lamborghini, the number 40, sorry. Yeah, maybe you get into the play with the both of them. So even this is battling for P13 right now. Nothing is decided yet, with still 9 minutes to go. As we see Clayton Banney battling against Nikolai Schroeder. But remember, Nikolai Schroeder is the only one to pit yet. So if he will pit anytime soon now, it will be Mitchell, Vargas and Banney, our top 3 right now.
Notice then a little bit of a flash of the lights from Clayton Banney there, just to put Nikolai Schroeder off a little bit, and also supposed to remind him that they were on completely different races, completely different strategies. But Nikolai Schroeder has every right to defend his position, but Clinton Batty does get the move done on at the inside of Mineshafts. Within 8 minutes left, I would guess Nikolai is going to come in possibly this lap or the next. So no, Nikolai does stay out to put another lap in. I hope he hasn't forgotten that he needs to pit.
If so, it would be pretty unusual for this team. Mode 11 is a team which knows how to drive and what they have to do to receive a good position in a race. So I think the other guys in this team will say, hey, we have to pit right now or you will be disqualified. So I don't think you will forget about this.
No, I don't think so either. A lot of these teams will be on team rodeo with each other throughout the race. Some of the bigger teams will even have engineers on the radio with them through the race, giving them split times and strategies to cars around and things like that. So I've got no doubt that Nikolai will pit in plenty of time for the end of the race, but he's definitely hanging it out to the very end.
Yeah, but he needs to pit on the second to last lap. On the last lap you cannot pit anymore, as Nikolai is pitting right now as we speak. So forget what about us to say. He is pitting, he doesn't forget about it with 6 minutes to go. So he will probably have 2 or 3 laps to go with these in his second stint, if you want to say so. Yeah, and
where Nikolai Schroeder qualified. Try to remember as he just comes out in currently coming out into P11, although I think that's going to pan out to P12 I think once the timing board settles out. Do you remember where Nikolai qualified?
Yeah, he qualified on P21 and now he's on P12.
Yeah, very, very, very good strategy call then for both Nikolai and Regan Mitchell, gaining lots and lots of positions in the strategy call on pit stops. So it's a difficult strategy to pull off. You've got to be, very confident in your car handling and tire management, but being able to do a splash and tash and making a set of tires last for an entire race where other drivers around you are changing tires can definitely be a really, really good strategy, but it is difficult to pull off. And as we're seeing, some of the drivers that have opted not to take tires starting to struggle a little bit with grip as we come into the final 4 minutes of this race at Kyalami.
Yeah, as we speak, we've seen that Richardson got past De Jong on the inside after sunset because De Jong just got a little bit too wide of sunset, and this was a mistake which was enough to let Richardson slip through. So lovely job again by Richardson, just waiting and do it on the right time. But Yannick couldn't recover from his spun at the beginning of the race. He's still in P19 and now battling with Oliver into Cheetah. Ah, yeah, just got it right there. Oliver probably stay out there. As Pinchback just going into the inside, crashing into Yannick, and Yannick is fletching. Yeah, which is fair. But because of this, Oliver could get past both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Yannick has managed to gain a couple of positions back after that spin at the beginning of the race that you mentioned. I think when he rejoined in 27th. We have had a number of retirements out of this race. So Yannick has managed to get a couple of places back, but you know, by staying in the race and not quitting, he's going to get the points. Whereas, you know, some of the other drivers who have had to leave the server they're going to be forfeiting their points for the evening.
Yeah. As the battling goes on, we have only almost 2 minutes left, which means we got around 1 lap or 2 laps remaining in this race. 75 minutes was it long, and now we are going into the final with this beautiful battling. But we got another battle on the track right now with John Beaton battling against Vincent Wilczek for P6. And John Beaton looks really feisty, like he's driving there, just kicking the car from right to left and then into the corner, just to get a nice exit. I know he's trying to stay in the slipstream of Wilczek into turn 1, but he can't quite manage it. We've seen it over the whole race. The Porsche has a lot of top speed today, which wasn't the main factor of a Porsche back then with the old model, but now with the new car, he has top speed right now, and it is really useful for him.
Just got the final 10 seconds. Just looking to see where P1 is. P1 is just coming out of Lukot pin turn 11 down into mine shafts as the timer runs out. And now maths is not my strong suit by any stretch of the imagination. Doubly so with the fact that I'm under the influence of cold and flu medication, but I believe that this result is actually going to leapfrog Regan Mitchell above Clayton Banney in the overall championship standings, and I believe we'll probably put him up into possibly P2 or P3 with Clayton Banney behind. It's going to be touch and go whether Dave Jr. is going to hold on to his P1 position in the championship, but as he comes home in P4, definitely a really strong showing for Dave. Should keep him up at towards the sharp end of the leaderboard. Nick Vargas obviously comes in to take P1 for the semi-pro class. And Jits Medina, despite those few instances with just losing traction on the car, manages to take the silver for the semi-pro class, with Arvin Magamakers coming in P3 for semi-pro as well, P9 overall. So really great result from all of our drivers this evening.
Yeah, what a race it was, 75 minutes long. And what strategies? Strategies were the main factor of the race. What are you doing? Doing a tire change or doing only fuel? As you see the last battle on grid with Oliver Anderson and Pinchbeck, but Pinchbeck got managed and is in P18 in the end. Unfortunate for Oliver, but this was the race. Yeah, 75 minutes long, as I said. What a race. Really, the strategies was the key factor of the race. We've seen Mitches winning the race by strategy and by pace, of course, but mainly on strategy.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was an absolutely fantastic strategy call from Regan Mitchell there. Really hoping that Regan's going to join us in the commentary box for interviews, because I'm very curious to find out if that was planned all along, or if it was a decision on the fly based on how then the race progressed around him. But really good call, and a great drive from Nick Vargas, taking P2 overall, and the semi-pro win.
Yes, we got your gas rating in the rating room.
I got my wish. My wish. Regan Mitchell, we were just talking about you.
Hello.
So I've got to ask, was the strategy planned from the very beginning, or did you decide it on the fly as the race progressed around you?
It was decided about 20 minutes before qualifying started. And honestly, I expected like 2 or 3 other people to do it. But that didn't end up happening, so it was just me.
We think a couple of other drivers did decide to not take tires, but they seem to struggle a lot more with traction towards then the end of the race.
Yeah. The reason I choose to like not go halfway and actually take more fuel was I have the opinion that once you pit and don't change the tyres, those tyres they won't do what they would have done if you just kept lapping. They're just dead. Mm-hmm. So I like to go as long as possible when doing something like this.
Yeah. So as a track then, do you enjoy driving at Kyalami? Is this a race you've been looking forward to?
I do like Kyalami. I'm not normally very good at it, but I do enjoy it, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, you proved yourself wrong. You're quite good at the or even your strategy was better than your race pace, to be fair. But still, was the whole race at the top of the grid.
Yeah,
and managed to win. So you have the pace. Nice job.
I was happy with the pace. I didn't have that much practice to find it, but I was also impressed with how it held on to its tires. To be honest, it weighed a lot, but it was like even wear, so I could just drive around it and almost keep time throughout the whole stint. It was really nice.
Excellent. And with then a round 4 coming up in 2 weeks' time at Misano, is that a track that you're looking forward to driving? Do you enjoy driving Misano?
I do like Misano. I don't know if the Lambo likes it or not, but I'll give it a go.
That's nice to hear.
What are your hopes for then the overall championship? I mean, coming into this race, you were P5, so we think that this has gotten you over Clayt Banney in the championship coming into the next race. When are you hoping to continue that streak for the rest of the season?
It would be nice. Unfortunately, I don't think I have the time to properly keep up with the pace of people like Clayt and Sem, but I'll still try and make the best of what I have at every race.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for giving us some exciting racing then this evening. Congratulations on your win, and we will see you at Misano in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, just going to bring in Ben and Clayt. So Ben Mullard, welcome to the commentary box. How was then the race for you this evening?
Yeah, it was eventful. So I started on P2 and managed to get in the lead at the start of the race, and it was a bit scary having Clayt right behind me. We had a nice little battle, and I was just trying to run my own race really, because the cars around me were quite a lot quicker really. I struggle with the Porsche on race pace a little bit, and the tyres aren't the best. They seem to the rears, it really destroys them.
Yeah, I mean, for my race, it was like the start with the Ferrari had a bit of a disadvantage compared to the Porsche. So Ben had a good start, overtook me. We had a good battle, to be fair. A bit frustrated because to make my strategy work, I had to be in clean air. But to be fair, apart from a moment where I punted Ben by accident, it went all fine. It was a good clean battle after that. I also made sure that I didn't overtake him when I punted him. And then afterwards, yeah, finally when I had clean air, I knew I had like mid-40s in it. And then I just messed it up in the last corner and I made it race way more exciting than it should have been. And yeah, unfortunately, it cost me the race there. But on the other hand, at least I made it a good, exciting comeback afterwards.
So what was then the strategies going into the race? Where was it decided that you were going to take tires, or was that a decision that you made on the fly, both Ben and Clayt?
Go on, Clayt, you go first.
Yeah, for me it was, I actually tested it out a bit, tried the 3 different strategies, and in clean air it was quicker for me to take tires, so that was the instant decision that I made before the race. But yeah, if I didn't make the mistake, I think it would have also been the best strategy for me.
And Ben?
Well, I did a little bit of practice with the Porsche on like full sort of fuel, and I kind of realised when I was practicing it was going to be a very big struggle because it really affects the balance of the Porsche with the fuel tank being at the front. So it really affects the car throughout the stint, and with the tyre wear at the rears. It was going to be quite a struggle, so I think if I had the car to do it, I would have probably gone and done what sort of Regan did. But I felt that with the Porsche, for me at least anyway, I don't think it was really probably the right thing to do, so I just decided to pit halfway and just take half fuel in both stints.
And with Misano coming up with the next round out, Clayton, is Misano a track that you enjoy driving? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely. It's I've won with Ben before as well, so we've had good experiences here, and yeah, I think I can be decently competitive. Hopefully, not make the mistake that I made today, and yeah, it will be. I think it will be a fun race and definitely a fun quali for sure.
And Ben, what are your feelings towards Misano as a circuit?
I really enjoy Misano as a circuit. I think it's a lot of fun. You got to be careful with track limits there. It's very easy to pick up track limits and get a drive through.
What track limit? Never heard about it, right? We actually had a race where I got 3 track limits in the first stint of, let's say, a 12-hour race, and I was in a team with Ben, and after that, no one got any more track limits after that.
Yeah, we had to carry Clayt that day for once.
Yeah, you actually showed me how it should have been done, and I could just copy you, and it worked.
So, what are your hopes for then the rest of the championship? So Misano is our next round out, is halfway through the championship. What are your hopes for the rest of the season?
I mean, I'm gonna miss another race, so I really have to pick up the performance and make sure I win every round to even have a chance of winning the championship. But that's the challenge, right? Makes it more fun, and yeah, as you can see today, it can also be. I think it's going to be very competitive also for the rest of the season, especially with Sam also returning.
Yeah. And Ben, what about your the rest of your season?
Mainly I just want to enjoy myself. I've had a few. I've been sort of race pace. I've been knocking around the door and around sort of a podium finish. So it'd be nice to get a podium before the end of the season. Some of the tracks I think the Porsche might struggle at. But yeah, my qualifying, I can usually qualify pretty well, but then the race pace tends to let me down. So probably need to work on the race pace a little bit, and hopefully I can get lucky and it'd be nice to get on the podium at some point.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much both for joining us and giving us some fantastic racing. And I think we've got time for one more interview, as I've just seen Nick Vargas come into the green room. I'm just going to pull him in. Good evening, Nick. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good.
Fantastic race. Really, really well driven. How was it for you?
Yeah, what can I say? I didn't expect to be that far in front, to be honest. But yeah, the Mercedes is just crazy fast here on this track, and it can take the S's and go over the curb like crazy. So yeah, and I was a bit lucky, I think, also with some spins in front of me. But yeah, I could keep it really clean for the whole race. So yeah, really happy with the second place.
And you were mentioning the amount of practice that you were able to put in. I was just taking a quick look at your midweek practice times in the server, and you put in quite a number of laps, 136 laps just on our practice server alone, and you ended up in P2 just behind Clayt Banney in the practice. So were you expecting to do this well at the race this evening?
Well, maybe not that well, P2 overall, but I was actually aiming for the win in Pro-Am, which I got. But no, I had I expected some more pros in front of me. But yeah, for me, practice is just I need a lot of practice to be fast, and then in combination then with the Mercedes here on this track, yeah, it really helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. And what are you expecting out of Misano? Is then the Mercedes?
Yeah.
Forward to it?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it, but it's a different story, I think, on Misano. I think Kyalami and Imola are the best for the Mercedes, but I think 1 or 2 weeks ago I had also another league race there, and it was not that bad. So yeah, hopefully can do another great race there.
And with Justin DeLong and Ryan Leach not having a great race out then this evening, puts you in really good position for then the semi-pro championship coming into then the halfway part of then the season. What are your hopes for the rest of the season?
Yeah, to stay as close as possible to both of them. I think in the previous 2 races they were much faster and they had a much better pace. So they were really also fighting with yeah, almost the front of the pros, I think. So yeah, just make the best out of it, and hopefully can also put in some more practice for the next races, and then yeah, it should be good.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us and giving us some excellent racing this evening, and we'll look forward to seeing you out in Misano in 2 weeks' time.
Well, thank you, and thanks for the stream, and congrats to Regan with the win.
Yeah.
Oh,
This was it, Sam.
That was a fantastic race. Really, really enjoyed that. Lots of action up and down the order. Very, very much looking forward to what happens at Misano next round out. So what's your prediction, Dominic, for Misano in 2 weeks?
I really don't know. We've seen a lot of races so far with a lot of different winners. I think it was the third winner right now of the season in 3 races. So maybe a 4th one. It would be really nice. Yeah, but we have to see and wait. First of all, on Saturday we got our endurance championship head off to Monza as well in Italy, and for an 8-hour race there. And then we got first of all to Misano in the Tier 2. So for T1 we need to wait again 2 weeks. On the 24th of October we will continue this nice battle for it. Sam, any other words to do?
Aside from, I obviously been sure to support SSRI. Everyone, be sure to click the subscribe and the bell icon, just to make sure that you're notified of all of our future streams, both live and uploaded. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you hopefully at the weekend for our endurance race.
Yeah. Her name was Sam Pierce, my name was Dominic Giese, and we see you all next time. Have a good night.